The 125cc motorcycle category is one that has seen tremendous growth in recent years, and not just in terms of sales volumes, but also in terms of new products that have joined the fray. On the one hand, you have the more conventional and utilitarian sort of bikes that we have grown accustomed to, and on the other, you've got the more flashy, sporty, more feature-rich, relatively newer age ones. Now what you see in front of you, the new Hero Glamour X, aims to bridge the gap between these two types and offer you the best of both worlds. What Hero has done to create the Glamour X is taken the same basic rolling chassis from the Glamour and the Glamour X tech, spruced it up with some fresh styling bits like this new headlight and tail light, as well as 5 new colors. But interestingly, Hero has plonked in the more powerful 11.5 horsepower engine from the Extreme 125R over here. And to top it all off, there's a heap of tech on the Glamour X. For starters, it uses ride-by-wire, which enables 3 riding modes: Eco, Road and Power, all of which deliver the same peak output but run different mapping. Then you have cruise control on the Glamour X, which makes it the smallest, most affordable bike in the country, perhaps even the world, to offer this feature. Like most other Hero commuters, the Glamour X also gets the company's i3S start-stop fuel-saving tech, which works reasonably well. Showing the rider all the relevant information is a color LCD display, same as the one on the Charisma XMR210 but with a bit of a different layout, which shows you all the relevant information. This display is bright enough, it's laid out well, and the interface is very straightforward. While the features in the engine certainly make the Glamour X a unique proposition, its design has more in common with a traditional commuter and not the funky new 125s. That's understandable on Hero's part, because the best-selling bikes in India have this sort of silhouette, and it's a market the company just can't afford to ignore. While it is largely a commuter design, bits like the small tank extensions, the smart headlight and tail light, and the little belly pan help give the Glamour X a little identity of its own out on the road. Design is subjective, but I think this is a fairly catchy looking thing without being overly flashy and in your face. Quality too seems commendable for a bike of this price, and there are no unsightly panel gaps or stray wiring really visible. However, one little nit I must pick is the absence of a hinged fuel filler lid on an otherwise feature-rich and well-built machine. Sure, it's a small gripe, but if this bike can have cruise control, surely Hero could have thrown in a hinged fuel filler cap. All of that means that the new Glamour X has more or less the same riding experience as the other 125cc Hero commuters, save for a little more oomph. And that's no bad thing, because that is basically what is expected from a bike in this category. What a commuter bike should do is give you a high level of comfort while returning good fuel economy and last you a long time. That's pretty much the design brief, and the Glamour X sticks to it more or less. Speaking of comfort, the Glamour X scores quite highly in that regard. Of course, even the decent roads we have back in Mumbai can't compare to the butter smooth tarmac Jaipur has offered up today, but even over the few bad sections I did go over, the Glamour X kept me corseted and never once lost its composure. Expectedly, that suspension comfort means that the Glamour X is no corner carver, but that's perfectly alright considering the sort of bike it is. What will help you is that the Glamour X feels light, agile and neutral at all times. Combine that with its super tight turning radius and you have an excellent bike for work inside the city. And what this long seat will allow you to do is carry a pillion with relative ease, and you can even transport a bit of luggage without a hassle. What will also help you inside the city is the Glamour's smooth and tractable engine, as well as its super short gearing. And out on the highway, the engine retains its smoothness and refinement all the way up to 80 kph before prominent vibration rears its head. And unlike the other 125cc Hero commuters, the Glamour's exhaust note has a bit of bass to it, because according to the company's market research, customers in this segment demanded that. Let me give you a listen. The only area of the motorcycle I didn't really gel with was the gearbox. Gear shifts weren't the most precise, and sometimes it took a real hard shove to go from neutral down to first. This is an area that we have faced a problem with even on previous Hero motorcycles, and I'd like to see some improvement in this regard. Coming to the riding modes, there are 3 of them: Power, Eco and Road. And I feel road mode would have been the default setting for this bike had there been no riding modes at all. Because in this mode, the fueling is crisp, the throttle response is excellent, and the bike just feels its most relaxed self. Relaxed, not lethargic. Coming up to power mode really gives you that sense of urgency. All three modes, by the way, give you the same exact peak power. It's only the mapping and the way the power is delivered that differs. Coming to power mode, you'll really appreciate this urgency if you stay in a hilly region or you're ferrying a pillion or both. Coming down to eco mode, eco really dulls down the power delivery. You have to really ring the throttle to get up to maximum acceleration, and I don't think you'll find any use for it unless you're riding in adverse weather or you're trying to extract the maximum fuel economy from a given liter of fuel. And coming to the most burning question that is surely on everyone's mind, does this bike really need cruise control, and how does the feature actually work? Well, the cruise control works just as it should. You control it from this switch on the right hand side switch cluster. It works just as well as it does on a BMW GS, so that's that out of the way. Coming to the question of whether this bike really needs it, I think there are two answers to that question. The first side is that if you have a really long commute over a fast flowing highway, or if you're staying in a city like Bombay where there are big fast flowing roads like the Eastern and Western Express highways, well, at least some of the time, then you could find a genuine use case for this feature. The other side of the equation is that a bike with 11 horsepower doesn't really need cruise control, and in that case, you have the option of entirely ignoring this feature. My viewpoint on this whole cruise control thing is, I'd rather have the feature and not need it than need it and not have it. You guys let me know your thoughts on the cruise control in the comment section below. While the Glamour X certainly has a lot of frilly headline grabbing features, one unnoticed feature that I'd like to bear special mention to is the low battery kickstart assist feature. Now you see, in a market like ours, Hero tells us that customers with bikes like these aren't very service oriented. Essentially what that means is that parts like the battery often go years on end without being replaced. Now when a battery state of charge is low, it will not be able to send enough current to the throttle body to open the valve. Therefore, the fuel air mixture won't be able to go inside the engine and the combustion process just won't happen. All of that is to say that when you crank this button, the engine will not start. Hero has found a clever workaround for this in that when you push down on the kick, a small amount of current will be sent to the throttle body. Therefore, the ignition process will be able to happen seamlessly and your motorcycle's engine will start. I think this is a small but thoughtful feature that will pay a lot of dividends in the long run. With prices ranging between 90,000 and 1 lakh rupees ex-showroom, this Glamour X isn't really all that more expensive than the lower Glamour models, and you do get a lot more features and tech baked in. And another thing, since this bike is based on a proven engine and chassis platform over the last few years, realistically there are likely to be very few unwelcome surprises in your ownership experience of this machine. But before we end, I think as great as the pricing is and as lovely as all the features are, I think Hero did miss a trick when it did not offer single channel ABS even as an option. This is especially so in the context of the top Extreme 125R, which is just a few thousand rupees more than this Glamour X disc variant we have with us. You could even argue that ABS should have been offered instead of the cruise control feature on this motorcycle, because the safety enhancing features always prefer to that of a convenience enhancing one. Nevertheless, aside from that complaint and the notchy gearbox, the Glamour X really hasn't done much that is wrong with us in our time today. And if you are somebody that wants all the features that these new age commuters come with, but you still want a machine that is straightforward, practical, fuel efficient and comfortable, I think this Glamour X should seriously be on your radar.